What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another video on the Unguardable Podcast. As y'all see, it's just me by my lonely. Cam Killer Cam is at work right now, and I've been slipping. We've been kind of busy this weekend, so we haven't been able to get together to film it. But I'm knocking this podcast out for you guys because we gotta stay locked in every single week, getting these episodes out for you guys. I appreciate y'all that are supporting. I'm going to be locking in with the clips more. I'm going to be going through, clipping these things up so you guys can see the funniest things and things that are interesting and the hot takes and things like that we got going on throughout these episodes. If you can't watch the YouTube, full YouTube videos, I'll have short form clips out there for you guys coming soon. So I appreciate everybody that's pulling up, liking the video. Drop some comments of who you are, what as far as what we're talking about, discussions, and we ask for you guys to comment down below. Just pop some comments down below. I see you guys liking the videos and reposting them and sharing them for me, so I appreciate you guys, and I see the views going up on the video, so I appreciate everybody that whoever is watching the videos. I appreciate y'all showing love for real. This is something that I enjoy doing as far as podcast wise. I hopefully want to start I just want to start getting more consistent and locking in with it. I've been seeing a lot of motivational stuff, especially with the Kai and the Mafia-thon, and seeing him and that work ethic. And I'm like, I know that this is something that I enjoy doing and I want to do. And I have a daughter. I have things that I have to sacrifice for, but I know that this is something that I still don't want to give up on. Like, this is something that I still want to continue to do as far as content creation with the YouTube and eventually streaming, because I really love and enjoy a lot of streaming. But like I said, I have my daughter and gotta work and things like that, so I gotta work around that schedule. But enough of that yapping and talking. Let's get right into it. I am a week behind. I know the NFL today is Monday as I'm recording this, and I'm going to be dropping it today. And the NFL week number 13 is about to be up, but we still got to recap last week. So let's get right to it. So week number 12, let's get right to it. We have a depressing week for the San Francisco 49ers last week when we got blew the brakes off by the Green Bay Packers. I'm not ready to talk about this past week because the same thing just happened against the Buffalo Bills, but we're gonna get into that on probably Tuesday when we record, or Wednesday. But anyways, we got our brakes bit off with the our ass beat versus the Green Bay Packers last week. We had a backup quarterback in. Unfortunately, I don't know why we didn't put Josh Dobbs in. I know Josh Dobbs' record is 3-11, and not necessarily he doesn't have the best track record. But I don't know. Maybe me and some other 49er fans just felt like him could have brought a little spark to the offense. Maybe, I don't know. But I guess Brandon Allen, I believe his name was dealing with a finger issue. I guess he had a broken finger on his left throwing hand, non-throwing hand. So they had that shit taped up, and not necessarily saying that was the cause of us losing, no. But we couldn't stop the run. Josh Jacobs ran all over us, y'all. Oh my god, I was so pissed off, and we couldn't get a single tackle. It was a bad game for everybody. Bad game for Warner, bad game for almost every single 49er on there. So it was just a bad game all around. But I hope that we can lock in and get ready for next year, because this year is over with. We're cooked. We are cooked turkey, my boy. So we'll see next year how it goes in free agency and drafting wise. I know some people are gonna have to be let go. We're gonna have some contracts we're gonna have to sign. We're gonna have some contracts of people we're gonna have to probably let walk. But that's just unfortunate business. Our Super Bowl window is done. We had our chance, man. We were the second best football team in football, and we ran up against the best team in football the years that we went against in the Super Bowl, aka this nigga on the screen as y'all see, Patrick Mahomes. And it's just, our time has closed. It is what it is, We had our chance to win, and so now I'm gonna be honest with you guys. After next year, we're probably gonna be in rebuild mode. I'm not even gonna lie. Not necessarily like Carolina Panthers this year rebuild mode, but we might be in a rebuild mode like fucking who's out the playoff race right now, but that's not looking like too bad. Like, I would say somebody like the Rams, like the Rams have a talented team, but they're still they're still have a playoff hopes right now with battling against Seattle, but fucking like maybe even the Colts, around there. Like we're gonna be probably looking like them next year, like a team that has talented players but still got to develop, like because we're not looking good, man. We're not looking good. But moving on. As y'all see down the middle, we got our scores of the week. The Dallas Cowboys, for me, was one of the biggest shockers of this week, pulling the dub out over the Washington Commanders, 34-26. Man, the end of that game was actually insane, y'all. So if you didn't pay attention, if you did pay attention to the end of that game, literally, fucking Jaden Daniels pulled a Hail Mary touchdown to like pull them in within a touchdown or tying the game, if I'm not, or no, it pulled them in within the it was it was a touchdown to tie the game, right, y'all. And Jaden Daniels threw to McLaurin around the sideline. It was unreal, fucking unreal. It looked like the Jaden Daniels and the Commanders were done, and he just threw another miracle play, went down the sideline, scored a tutty. The kicker missed the kick, the extra point, so they were still down. They kicked the ball off. The dude Turpin fumbles the kick return, starts running, sees everybody coming towards him, hits them with a spin move, takes off to the house touchdown. What just happened? And then fucking after that just put him up, and I almost pretty much sealed the deal from there. And then I think they ended up kicking it off, and it was just wrapped. But it's like, bro, what happened right there in the last few plays as far as the crazy late touchdown? Dude almost fumbled the kickoff return, and somehow just slipped past everybody, made it one move, and scored a tutty. That to me was one of the biggest shockers of the week, besides that other game I see on the right hand side. The Dolphins pulled out over the New England Patriots. The Dolphins look not too bad, man. They were getting back into their groove, man. Tua Tagovailoa, he looked pretty good that game. I think he had like 3 or 4 touchdowns. He had my boy Achane looking nice. He had Waddle had a good day that day. Jonnu Smith, who for some reason has been Tua's favorite target. And I don't know why he's not just passing on Tyreek Hill. I think Tyreek Hill did have a decent, I think he had like 1 tutty or something like that day, but it wasn't that impressive. It wasn't a Tyreek day, like I think Waddle had like over 100 something yards that day, so it was a good day for him. And yeah, Tampa Bay put out a big W over the New York Giants. They just been struggling. They had a new quarterback in Tommy DeVito playing, and they just couldn't. I think they couldn't score, but just one time. But the Giants are right now, I believe, like first or second place in draft order, right behind the freaking Las Vegas Raiders. As y'all see, they lost to the Denver Broncos 29-19. Bo Nix was going crazy, man. He was going crazy on them, man. I was like, sheesh. I had Brock Bowers, and I was happy that Brock Bowers was able to get into the end zone that day. Gardner Minshew ended up having a season-ending. I think it was. I forgot what it was. I think it was meniscus, his shoulder, I believe it was. It was rotator cuff or something like that. But he's done for the rest of the year. So they had Aiden O'Connell back there. But Brock Bowers is gonna do Brock Bowers things. He is probably, not even probably, in my opinion, he's the best. He's the best tight end right now in the league, in my opinion. Fucking. Yeah, so Brock Bowers is going to do Brock Bowers things. In my opinion, I think he's probably the best tight end in the league right now, besides, Travis Kelce, and you got Kittle. You have your people that have defined themselves, but for a rookie that is playing like this, in my opinion, he's at least top 3, top 5 tight end right now in this league. He's going to be nice next year, man. And he's going to probably, not even going to lie to you, call it glaze, but he's probably going to be my second pick in fantasy, bruh. Like, I'm probably going to go, I might go, depending on who gets drafted next year and on what team, I might go like a receiver and then go Brock Bauer, because if Shedeur Sanders gets drafted to the Las Vegas Raiders, you guys, because I've been talking with my boy Brian, he's a huge Raiders fan. If Shedeur, who I believe is a good quarterback and he should have some decent NFL success. Not saying he's gonna come out balling out. Everybody's gonna have their rough spouts, but somebody that if he knows somebody that he wants to look for, especially like him and Travis Hunter, if he could develop a relationship with somebody like that, Brock Bowers, and even the rest of those Raiders receivers, it's gonna look pretty good over there. So I'm gonna be for sure looking at Brock Bowers to be one of my tight end one like I did this year. I believed in him. I threw a long shot on him when I drafted him in fantasy this year, and a lot of people was like, "Why would you draft him so high?" and stuff like that. And he's literally my tight end one in like 3 of my fantasy leagues, and I'm literally cooking. And I believed in him. I threw a long shot on him, and I don't even like the Raiders players like that. I'm a Niners fan, y'all. We don't really mess with the Raiders boys like that, but he is a gem, and I saw him coming out of college. I was like, he looks nice, y'all. He looks nice, and like I said, my boy, he's a Raiders fan, and so we always chopping it up. So they have a bright future ahead of themselves with those players over there. Especially with Jacoby and the rest of them, especially Abdullah. I like that. I like their running back Abdullah. He's pretty nice too. The Eagles was able to pull out that. I think that was on Monday, if I'm not mistaken, or yeah, it was on Monday. Or was it Monday? I think it was. The Philadelphia Eagles pulled it out over the Los Angeles Rams. Hey man, the Eagles look scary, bro. Like straight up, like they're. I know that line. Cam and I was talking about on last NFL podcast, talking about that the Lions probably are the number one team in the NFC and make it out to the Super Bowl, but it's gonna be some competition out there with the Eagles, bro, and that's probably gonna be the NFC Championship game between those two. But yeah, was able to pull it out over the Rams. You got Detroit versus the Colts. Detroit was able to pull that one out. Everybody knew that they was gonna win that game. There's no doubt about that one. The Cleveland Browns. I believe this was the Steelers. This was the first snowy game we had of the year. We had Cleveland versus Pittsburgh. Cleveland pulled that one out. Jameis Winston was out there doing snow angels in the snow. That was a really, really good game. Struggled though for teams in the snow because you can't necessarily do everything that you plan to do as far as passing the ball, kicking field goals, things like that because it's a snowy ass game. But it was still fun to see our very first snow game of the year, and it was entertaining. Especially Jameis Winston, bro. He's a gem, bro. He looks like a really good person. His interviews all the time are funny. I'm not even gonna lie to you, bro. He's funny as hell. He's a character, bro. Keep Jameis Winston safe. Seattle pulled the divisional dub out over the Cardinals. Kansas City barely squeezed away with the dub against the Panthers. Bryce Young's been playing better, you guys. Some people are saying that. I saw a debate. I saw a debate not too long ago talking about how C.J. Stroud versus Bryce Young when they was coming in was like a little debate when they were drafted, and then C.J. Stroud just killed him. Like he had an outstanding year last year, like all props. But then this year, C.J. Stroud had the upper hand, and he was playing pretty good. But then C.J.'s having a kind of a down year, and then now Bryce is starting to come back to form, play a little better. They're not necessarily winning games, but he's playing better than he was playing. And so some people are revisiting that conversation of who's the better quarterback right now between CJ and Bryce Young because, they're in the same draft class. And, I still think CJ's the better quarterback, but Bryce Young is looking better. But Kansas City still ended up winning that game. Baltimore pulled out the dub over the Los Angeles Chargers in the Brothers Bowl. That shit's pretty dope. How the brothers both coast against each other. That's something that's pretty cool. I would love to do something with Cam Killer Cam and even my little brother Charlie. Have all three of us like go against each other in whatever it is and compete and have a friendly competition because family. There's nothing like family competition, especially when you're at the highest level of doing it. And so, eventually I believe we'll all get to that stage, not necessarily the NFL, but our highest level of where we want to go as far as me and my brothers and the rest of our family. You feel me? All praise to God as long as we continue that grind. But besides that game I was telling you guys about the Commanders and Cowboys game being the shock of the week, this game right here was a shocker of the week for me, bro. The Tennessee Titans pulling out the W over the Texans. Bro, this is what we're talking about when the CJ Stroud versus Bryce Young debate. Not necessarily saying that he's killing him, Bryce Young's killing CJ Stroud. No, he's not. You feel me? He's just playing a little bit better than he has been. But losing to the Tennessee Titans is insane. Now I know you don't got Stephon Diggs, and you feel me, and you probably have a few other injuries that I don't know about because I'm not a Texans fan like that, so I don't know all the specifics to that. But you still got talented players out there with Schultz and Mixon and Nico and Tank. Like, come on, man. You got too much talent out there, and you got Al-Shaair back there, and you got a lot of talent on the defensive side as well. But, boy, I know his O-line's been struggling. C.J. Stroud's probably one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the league right now. But, damn, man, that's rough. He let Will Levis carve him up. Shout out to Will Levis and Nick Westbrook-Akine and the rest of them boys over there in the Tennessee Titans. They've been balling out, even though they just lost this past week. They've been playing pretty decent over there in Tennessee. But they're in rebuild mode too. I'm pretty sure they're going to be drafting a quarterback as well. Maybe another skill position. I'm not sure what they all need. And then the last game of the week was Minnesota versus the Chicago Bears. That game came down to the wire, I believe. I was about to go into overtime. But the Chicago Bears always have horrible time management and clock management. Well, no, it did go into overtime if I'm not mistaken. And Chicago got the ball first, and they ended up having to punt it. And they ended up having to punt it away. Minnesota got it, drove like 80-plus yards, kicked the field goal, game time, over with. And it just sucked because Caleb Williams balled out that game, if I'm not mistaken. He had like 3 or 4 touchdowns. He played really, really well. And, it just sucks for them to stay in the losing bracket for... I think the Chicago Bears is literally the opposite of the Kansas City Chiefs, y'all. Like, they've lost these last, like, few games due to, like, such bad circumstances. And then, like, the Kansas City Chiefs have won their games because of, like, the total opposite circumstance. Like, everything goes their way, and then they won their games. And the Chicago's, like, they've done so much, and like a few things that don't go their way, and then boom, they lose the game. And it's just insane how they just flip flop. But to add on to the shockers with the Commanders losing to the Cowboys, Jayden Daniels and the Commanders, through their first 9 games, started 7-2, and the last 3 games they are 0-3. Man, some people are saying, what is the fall off of the Commanders? They're just young. They're a group that's probably some good teams. They'll get it together. I believe they have a bye week this upcoming week because I was checking fantasy, and I saw Brian Robinson not going this upcoming week NFL next week. So I was like, it's week 14 because this is 12 and we just watched 13. So I'm referring to week 14. Is that the Commanders have a bye. But yeah, fucking they're just young, man, and they're gonna need this bye. They're gonna get it together. But they're still a good team. And as y'all see on the other board, I have Saquon Barkley has 302 total yards that game that he played against the Los Angeles Rams. And the Giants versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had a total of 245 yards. So Saquon himself, by himself, not the Philadelphia Eagles, not Jalen Hurts, not Devontae Smith, not A.J. Brown, not Jahan Dotson, not Goddard, not any other Philadelphia Eagle. Saquon Barkley. More yards than the entire Giants offense. Not more than Malik Neighbors, not more than Tyrone Tracy, not more than DJ's gone, but not more than DeVito, not more than Slayton, not more than anybody on that trash ass team. The whole offense. Insane, Saquon, bro. Insane, man. MVP caliber stats. But in my opinion, you are in an arguably race with this dude on the left of you. Even though some people this past week, y'all, we're not talking about it really because it's for next week's podcast. But the Baltimore did play the Eagles, and they played, and some people are saying this changed the MVP conversation. Blah 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 blah. But all that aside, as you see on the screen, this man to the left, Lamar Jackson, 30 tutties. 30 with 3 interceptions, man. That's insane, bruh. Insane. He's been throwing the ball accurately. And those 3 interceptions that I've saw, because I saw some people post about him saying that he shouldn't even have the interceptions. All the players had the ball on their hands and they dropped it and it went into the air and then the defense picked it. So it's not like he just overthrew somebody or underthrew somebody or the defense read him. He misread the defense and threw it to wide open person. No, the receiver missed catching the ball, pops out, and then the defender catches it in midair because it's an open play ball. So Lamar's been pretty accurate throwing the ball, and he's been playing pretty well. And you know who hasn't been accurate throwing the ball? Patrick Mahomes. 11 touchdowns with 10 interceptions. But you know who else is not throwing the ball accurately? And they're both my fantasy quarterbacks, and they be pissing me the fuck off. Jordan Love. 11 tutties, 8 interceptions. Geno Smith. 11 tutties, 10 interceptions. Like, these dudes, man, hey, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. But holy shit, man. Ball security is the biggest thing that a quarterback could have in this game, bro. You can have the run, you can have the arm power, you can have being able to read the defense, all of that shit. Yes, all of that needs to build a great quarterback. But the number one thing, and it's probably maybe I'm so harp on this because I'm a point guard, so I play basketball, so I related to that. But as a point guard, you cannot turn the ball over. Shout out to Tyus Jones. I know this isn't in the NBA pod, but shout out to Ty Jones. He probably had the biggest. He plays for the Suns now. He had the biggest assist to turnover ratio in the past 5 years. I guess he doesn't turn the ball over at all. But to that point being able to control the ball and keep possession of the ball, and that's what makes Kansas City deadly because they control the ball a lot of the game, which this year they haven't because he's been throwing picks, but that's why there've been so many close games. But ball security is the biggest thing because you control the time of possession, you keep the ball in your hands, and you don't allow the opposition to get free points, and so turning the ball over is the biggest thing, man. And so hopefully, especially with these quarterbacks that are coming into the draft, hopefully that gets harped on them is ball security, not making the risky plays. Bo Nix, I know he had a rough start, but now he's picking it up and starting to look a little bit better. Like I said, we talked about JD and the rest of them. CJ Stroud, not necessarily he's making the bad reads, the O-line's crumbling on him, but ball security, man, that's a big thing for quarterbacks that are coming in. Ball security. All right, moving on, guys, because we have a lot to talk about. Fantasy football, as you see above me, in my 12-man league, my money man league. I was able to pull off that W, man. I am still tied for number 1 seed in there in my money man league. Brian Robinson ended up getting hurt, and I had Alvin Kamara and Bijan on bye week, so I had to pick up Roshan, and I knew he was going to get me at least 1 tutty, and that's what he did. He got 1 touchdown for 2 yards. He got just what I needed, I guess. This dude, I'm happy that he didn't sub in players because he ended up having a quarterback that was hurt that Brock didn't ended up playing. He ended up not subbing out Brock. He ended up not subbing out defense, and he had a kicker that was on IR. And y'all know me, I'm not reminding anybody to make subs. That's on you, buddy, to do that shit. You feel me? I'm here to win. I'm here to win money and win this league, bruh. I don't give a fuck. You feel me? I ain't reminding nobody to do shit. You feel me? So I'm happy that he wasn't able to do that because my team barely came to play today. As y'all see, Boswell only got 7. The Denver defense only got 8 points, which is not that bad. You start off with 10, but Otten only got 4. Bowers had a bad day. Yeah, he even ended up scoring a touchdown, which was tough. AJ Brown had a decent day. Roshan, Brian Robinson got hurt. Gino. It was the lowest scoring week that I've ever scored in all of fantasy with 86 fantasy points. But because he didn't have certain people in, he only scored 72. So I was like, whoo! Thank God, because I swear to you, if he probably had a defense, if he had a kicker, if he had a quarterback, I lose. 100%. 100% I lose, bro. It don't even matter who it is, bro. I know a quarterback can get. I know a fucking defense can get more than probably 8 points, depending on which one he picked, because his running backs cooked me, and my receivers were just But shout out to Nick Westbrook-Akine. He got that one tutty for me as well, and Quentin Johnston got that dud. I was going to lose that game if Quentin Johnston did have a good game, but Quentin Johnston just couldn't catch the ball for some reason against Baltimore. He had like 4 drops, and I was like, yes, I played against him in fantasy. He only needed like 13 fantasy points to beat me, so I was like, thank God Quentin Johnston didn't do shit today. But as y'all see on the right hand side, I was able to beat my girlfriend. I was able to beat her in football fantasy this past week. Well, not past week, but the week before. 131 to 119. I had Hurts and Jalen go pretty crazy. Derrick Henry at chain. Got AJ Brown up in that mug. Got Nico Collins down there. I have a pretty OP team in that league. It's an 8-man league, so I'm able to stack up a lot of good players. But shout out to Josh Jacobs. Shout out to Jordan Addison. And shout out to Saquon Barkley for the top fantasy scores of the week. Man, I don't like Saquon running all over my Niners defense like that, but you know that's what's expected, especially with us being hurt and no Nick Bosa. You got to do what you got to do. But they are some of the standout scores of the week for me. Jordan Addison out here stealing all of Justin Jefferson's fantasy points. I appreciate that. Because I just played against Justin Jefferson again this past week. I was like, ooh wee, thank God, man, thank God. But yeah, Jordan Addison, shout out to you, and Saquon, he's having an MVP caliber year. So last but not least, well actually no, we have one more thing after this, you guys. But Cam Killer Cam sent me this bet that he put above me. He ended up cashing out on Josh Jacobs and George Kittle. But I don't know why he put a bet on this dude, but he put a bet in on Deebo Samuel for some reason, getting 12.5 rushing yards. Zito. He had Ken Walker for anytime touchdown. Did not score. Christian McCaffrey. I don't know why he's betting on so many 49ers. I love my Niner boys, but 79.5 rushing yards. 31. Jake Moody, 1.5 field goals. 1. And then he had James Conner with 68.5 rushing yards. 8. That's rough. That's a rough one. He was nowhere near close hitting on anything. But that's tough. I haven't put any football bets in on the past 2 weeks, but probably get back to it. Hopefully I can cash out on one of them or 2 of them or however many, so I can show you guys if you guys keep order of the pick'ems. And then like I was talking about with the draft order, there is another updated version. This screenshot was a little old, probably like 2 or 3 days old, but as this one was projected, Jacksonville was number 1 with the Giants, Vegas, England. So I was going to talk about that. This draft order is kind of key because depending on where these teams line up is where some of these draft picks might go. And so it will be pretty interesting to see where these teams end up finishing off as. I know my boy, who's a Raiders fan, he wants to finish in the top 2. If he could finish number 1, I know he'll probably be happy about that. Because these teams right now are in a tank fest to get the good picks. But we'll see where teams land up. And then in the top right-hand corner, as y'all see, y'all probably like, what the hell's going on over there? I was scrolling on Instagram, and I saw this page talking about if the NFL season did an in-season tournament style, just like the basketball season, but made the fields all colorful, like color rush schemed, and I'm like, man, that would actually be pretty dope if the NFL did do like a in season tournament, even though there's not more games, like a little tournament type of thing, or just added color rush fields like that will be pretty cool. They have a Raiders one that looks gray and black with like the little mountaintops. They have a Vikings, it's purple. The Dolphins one looks pretty dope with the palm trees and it's all orange, looking like it remind me of college fields pretty much. Even though we have colorful college fields, that's what it reminds me of, which I think it would be pretty cool if they just switch it up every now and then. That would be pretty dope. We have some sneakers, you guys. I just wanted to go through and I saw some cleats, and this was a little cool segment that I saw some cleats on Instagram, and I was like, man, I wanted to go through and rank some of these cleats that I saw. What's that?
We're gonna stare you.
Mom still recording. I'm almost finished though. But I was going through and ranking some of these cleats, and so these are some of the best cleats that I saw this past week on the NFL. And shout out to all these customizers for the cleats, because you guys go crazy every single week. And starting with this one, I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10 because this cleat is tough, man. I love the Nike. I love the gold and red. It's beautiful. If I'm not mistaken, I think this was Lenore's custom. I love it, man. Love it. Kyler Murray came out with an Oregon colorway. This is easily a 10 out of 10 for me, man. This shit looks nice. I love the inspired look, especially with the Nike Dunk lows. Looks pretty clean. Justin Jefferson, this is his custom with the little airplane on him. I love this shoe, bro. I didn't even know he was with Under Armour, and you know who's with Under Armour. Steph, look at Curry. Steph go. So easily that's a 10 out of 10, man. Shout out to JJ, bro. Jalen Hurts pulled out with the nice custom winter. I don't even know what color you could call this green, you know. I was gonna say winter green, but like it looks more of a brighter green than that, because the winter green would be like the Eagles like team uniforms, you know. So I would say like a money green almost, Jordan 11. But these for me are like an 8 out of 10. I like them. They don't necessarily match with his uniform, but they pop, and that's what I like about them. They do pop. I think this was Rashad Bateman, if I'm not mistaken, coming out with some custom Nike cleats, the gold straps around the ankle and bottom with the purple. It looks pretty cool, man. I really like this shoe. It matches the uniform. A1 steak sauce. 8 out of 10 for me. Easily a nice drippy shoe. Not David Montgomery, but Jahmyr Gibbs came out with the LeBron Fruity Pebble custom cleats, man. These are nice, man. I really like these a lot. Stand out, especially with the blue uniforms. 9 out of 10 shoe for me, man. That's pretty tough. We have number 0 for the Commanders with the custom Kobe cleats. These are hard. 10 out of 10 easily. They got the all black with the yellow, the red to match the red with the Commanders. I love Kobe. Rest in peace to GOAT Bryant, man. We got AJ Brown. That's my receiver. He came with some nice custom Nike Dunks custom cleats. It looked like they were all black, and then like the black looks like a scaly look. It's hard as hell. You really can't tell on the screen because he all the time usually wears like bright pink shoes and shit. But I like when AJ brings out the custom cleats and things like that he's showing right here with the sparkly. I mean, not the sparkly, but the I'm getting distracted by his teammate with the sparkly ass cleats. Fucking the snakeskin type of cleat, which is pretty cool. Bryce Young pulled out the Jordan 4s. Those look so sweet, man. They look almost like the M&Ms, but they're more just based off of his team colors. And they look pretty nice. Love the Jordan 4 colorway. Probably my favorite Jordan of the week. Probably my favorite Jordan ever, besides the 11s. And then speaking of AJ Brown, his teammate with the custom sparkly ass cleats, bruh. Those are tough. Easily 10 out of 10, bruh. I think they're a Nike Dunk, and he just pretty much made the sparkle, just bedazzled them motherfuckers. Them is tough, bruh. Those is tough. I think that was Saquon, if I'm not mistaken. Fucking, I don't know who this is for the Titans, but this custom cleats reminded me of like the Spider-Man type of cleats. I was like, ooh, this is hard, man. I had to add these to the pod. I like these ones, easily an 8 out of 10 for me. I like the red and blue look. Like I said, it reminds me of Spider-Man, New York. So yeah. And then last but not least, Nico with the nice little subtle, little black and red custom looks like flames. I like these a lot. I'm gonna give these like an 8.5 out of 10. They're not necessarily nothing too special, but they still look nice, and it's a nice custom cleat. Shout out to Nico Collins, man. For this week's episode, I appreciate y'all tuning in. I'm gonna get this episode out for you guys ASAP, Rocky, and then we're gonna record this probably NBA pod episode for you guys. We can get that out, and the NFL pod, and get back on roll, man. Appreciate y'all, boys.